Hi Gearslutz, Tom here at Universal Audio. We're at NAMM 2019, really excited to show you our latest offerings. So first up we have the recently launched Apollo X interface series, so the world's most comprehensive Thunderbolt 3 audio interface range. We have 4 models in this, the X6, the X8, the X8P and the X16. So I'll start a little bit talking about why Apollo X is so great. So starting with the converters, we've got elite grade conversion performance in Apollo X, so we've really taken the gold standard of Apollo that you guys all know and love for real-time tracking and interface solutions, and we've put in a lot of work on the analog stages of the conversion. We now have up to 133 dB of dynamic range and actually minus 129 dB of THD plus noise, so that puts your distortion products 129 decibels below signal level, which is incredibly low. It's actually class leading right now. So the reason we've managed to achieve this, not only the analog stages, but we've done something called dual crystal clocking. So with this, we have a crystal for 44.1 kilohertz sample rate and all of its integers, like 88.2. We also have 48 kilohertz crystal, which can do things like 96, etc. So we avoid all of the tricky multiplication, and we have very low jitter. It's actually about 6 times lower than any Apollo interface. And that helps us get rock solid stereo imaging and this really sort of high quality definition of sound that we've achieved with Apollo X. So not only do we have the sound quality increase, we've also changed the processing in the boxes so that now you don't have to make a choice based off the power of the DSP. We're still using UAD 2 processors, but we have hexacore processing inside the X series, which is 6 chips. So it's 50% more than any rack mount Apollo. And now the entire range has 6 chips. So you end up with the X6, which is $19.99 US, through to the X16, which is $34.99. So you can choose whether you want 2 preamps, 4 or 8, or no preamps, and still have hexacore processing or 6 processors on board. So the other big thing we're showing at the show, which is just behind me here, you'll see a 7.1 listening stage for the Apollo X, where we're showing the Air Studios launch session we made, the artist session with Two Door Cinema Club, the London Metropolitan Orchestra produced by Jackknife Lee. And the reason for this is we've now launched, since the version 9.7.1 software for Apollo X, we now have surround sound monitoring. So on the monitor side here with this control, you're actually able to operate in up to 7.1. So with the X6, you can do 5.1, and any of the other products, so the X8 onwards, they will do up to 8-channel surround, so 7.1. And you can control all of your speakers with a gang volume control, perfectly matched surround image. You have things like speaker solo, so you can check center dialogue and mute LFE feeds, so really comprehensive. We also have a section where you can actually monitor in calibrated decibel SPL. So even if you're working in stereo, this is useful for things like the Bobcat's K-System listening reference configuration. So a completely new update for Apollo X. First time we've brought surround sound to the Apollo range. And with that 9.7 release, we also brought out a handful of new plugins, as we always do. It's worth mentioning our plugins run on UAD processing, so they can either run in the Apollo interfaces for tracking in real time, or they can run on PCI cards and DSP accelerators like our satellite series, allowing you to use these plugins for mixing. And actually 4 out of 5 Grammy-winning productions right now are using UA plugins, of which right behind me, I think we just had Derek Ali, who did all of the Kendrick and the Childish Gambino stuff, big UA user. And one of the things that's sort of brand new for us is the Lexicon 480L, which I'm sure Gearslutz guys will be well aware. This is the most famous mix reverb, and it's been pretty much pinned to the center of every mixing console for the last 30 years. So we now have the first authorized Lexicon model with all the original algorithms in place for the 480L for that shimmery long tail reverb. Things like the Softube 20-band vocoder for the sound of Daft Punk and African Bambaataa and Imogen Heap, people like that. We've expanded the boutique guitar amp collection with 2 new offerings from Sir, so you can plug into the front of your Apollo and track through guitar amps in real time and get these boutique guitar amp tones for like heavy rock and all that sort of thing. Particularly this one here is the PT100, which is the Pete Thorne Signature Edition. Pete's a good friend of UA, so it's a real blessing to have that sort of modern high-gain 3-channel amp offering on the Apollo and UAD platform. And we've also finally recently launched the Neve Preamp, which is the cut-down version of the 1073, also known as the 1290. So it's a nice, simple 2-knob preamp, which will get you that classic Neve sound, whether you're tracking through an Arrow or an Apollo X or Apollo Twin, for example. So we're kind of branching out with our plugins. We've also done a Neve DFC, the digital film console. So with the surround sound features, if anyone's working in post-production, game audio, you have the console that people use to mix Oscar-winning movies and television shows with surround sound right out of the Apollo X, so a really comprehensive solution. So that's kind of what we're showing you on the product side. We're also announcing at the show the new UA Custom Shop, which is where we build all of our hand-built analog gear like the 6176, the Teletronics LA2A and the 1176 limiter. So that's all being built there as a sort of homage to our 1950s heritage, the small batch, handmade in America mentality, which we still have to this day. And actually, if you take a look behind me, there's also a 610 console, which is a Bill Putnam pet project, which we're doing in the custom shop. We're building a one-off because we've managed to procure a load of old vintage 610 tube modules from the 50s and early 60s. So we're sort of using the custom shop as a place to experiment and try new ideas whilst also maintaining our analog kind of history. So that's everything that's new from UA at NAMM. Thanks for watching. For more info, please visit uaudio.com.